morning. I haven't continued this, but I looked at some of the map modes. This is technology map mode, so you can see that there are some nations which are way behind me in technology and some which are way ahead of me, but none of the large nations are ahead of me in technology right now. And I'm looking at expanding into North America first. I had a deep discussion on my radio device tool thingamajiggy that whether or not I should expand into North America or Russia or Eurasia. And I concluded on North America first, north of these colonies, because they're taking the warm regions first. And that means that these regions up north here are northern region, northern zone. And it reduces colony growth quite a lot, so I'll have to be very careful about expanding my colonies. But if I'm lucky, I'll get perhaps as far south as the Canadian border in the US-Canada split, and I have way more economy than anybody else right now. So I think I'll be able to do good. My trade efficiency and production efficiency is also way higher because my technology is so good. Trade value. You can see most of the Scandinavian peninsula is now developed, including the Koala Peninsula, which belongs to me, but some of these provinces are still underdeveloped. They don't have much in terms of resources, so I haven't built much there. Placed my national here because I was trying to remove all the other nations by the support in unity or something, but you can't do it if the culture isn't primary or accepted. So only they be with to promote cultural unity, but it's too far from our core. While on the other hand, there's a few up here that would actually benefit from the cultural unity thing. So I think I'll place my next center here and then have cultural unity all the way in the north, and then down here, I think, or even Holland. And I also need to promote cultural unity in all these islands, but that's gonna take me a while. So, where to go in North America? I'm thinking the southernmost border, which would place me with the which would place me next to Canada in the south. I'm thinking all these other provinces are too wastelandy, so Labrador it is. Seems my question was solved for me. Now I'm at least positive colony growth, so I can actually build more colonies than one at the same time. Okay, so no trading around them. You can now see why my policy of trading with everyone in the natives and just generally trying to get along with everyone made me 3,500 a month income while in the UK is 1,000 with days trading warehouse. You may send a trader to the UK if you have too many, but focusing on UK trade is now forbidden because UK is notorious for throwing out our traders when they don't like them around. And I'm still working on getting the liberty, equality, and fraternity idea so I can actually turn this, what I can only describe as a kingdom, into an actual republic of equals, but that will take time. It will take some amount of time, unfortunately. And I have once again misplaced my scissors. I bought a lottery ticket and actually won €2. Nice. Town Hall in Westwood. My son, who was found floating on a boat of reeds, is now dead. Sorry, well, what Lord giveth, Lord taketh. You are found floating on a bed of reeds in the river, and the monarch adopts you, and then you die simply. It's unfortunate, but considering your beginnings, not all that unlikely. The vulture maahan kueta. Now hire a new advisor. Do I have culture of 100? No, I do not. So I will not hire a new advisor yet. Let's go with the monthly war exhaustion genius. I need a master of mint to control my inflation. Basically, all my ideas are solely for the control of my inflation. The trader is the best of the normal inflation reducers because the Jewish banker is the best if you have Jews in your country, which I do, and I considerably more than that. So I am surprisingly stable considering all the immigrants I get. I have 2 provinces out of about 50 or so at 1.5% rebellion risk, and rest at 0. And you will in fact be traded for the sheriff. Here we go. Hospital. My administrative efficiency is through the roof because I've built so many of these administrative efficiency things. Oh, this isn't Northern Zone. Västergötland is going to have 10% population growth for a while. Oh, it is Northern Zone. I thought that it wasn't for a moment, but I guess colonist chance was 99%. I have peaceful integration as my colony policy, but that doesn't change the fact that not everybody wants to be integrated peacefully or not. So there is some amount of conflict between me and the natives. And when my explorer group first went through the province, they were attacked by the natives. So yes, there is in fact some amount of conflict there. And I'm not surprised. I wouldn't want to join a random kingdom that just floats into my home place and goes like, hey, this is mine now because there's so few of you here. And I have thankfully forgone all my United Kingdom trade relations. The United Kingdom Great Plains Territory is what they call North America right now. Daju requires textile manufacturing. That's the looks like almost all of Scandinavia is now green. There's a few provinces that are actually blue because they're so rich. One is actually in Russia. What is this province blue in? Oh, it's actually 0. Oh, so poor that they're 0. London is 25, Stockholm is 30, and Moscow is 26. Rome is 37. So they're still larger. Constantinople and Thrace is 25th. Huron capital, which is the North American capital, is 24 at the moment, and we're in 1620. So I assure you, North America will beat me. But for a while, I can push back. I like these that can be described as heroic last stand scenarios. I like them. Going to be needing to build training fields pretty soon. So I can still build training fields without getting a negative. Oh, I actually do get a negative. So none of those. Hardly because it's level 3. And because I control most of the Baltic, and I have huge amounts of anti-piracy everywhere. People are paying me tributes because I'm keeping the sea safe. This is looking interesting. With the fact that I actually do have colonial growth, will most likely get the very northeastern part of the US, or in this case, Canada. And there might be less news of schools butchering native children under this particular domain. And I'm only going by the fact that I'm one step away from being maxed out on free subjects. Gotta getting cores in these regions pretty quickly because they're filling with people I actually like instead of like low-standing people who I hate that I'm exposing to the colonies. So they're actually liking me quite a bit. Continental Harbor. Still less developed, I think, than a seaport. That was the most developed naval building. I think I would prefer to have a 2 or even 3 domestic trade centers rather than 4 or 5 that are foreign that I'm barely making any money in. Well, barely is a little harsh if you look at my trade income, which is 57. Trade efficiency is much higher than anybody else, but that doesn't take the fact that I don't have good relations and occasionally throw out all my traders. Okay, so these colonies will take 40 to 50 years to become independent if I don't send any more colonists after the first wave of government-endorsed colonists. So it's a very long time, but first I'll take the entire northern with at least 1 colony in each. Manufactories because it's lower level. A lot of these more advanced buildings actually require the city to have a sufficient population, which is why my tax rate is actually very low across all my provinces except the capital couple very high population cities where it's abnormal. It used to be at very high in those, but I kept getting negative events because of it, so I dropped it back to normal. Because higher tax income reduces population growth, and it looks like those main cities will actually get to maxed out population well before the end of the game. Stockholm will probably have 1 million by 1650. And since, if I recall correctly, it's capped out at 1 million, that means a lot of the benefits will not be happening later on. But many of these provinces, even with a low population growth, are at like 20,000. Removing the natives from the colonization site increases the chance of your colony expanding, which, if your natives are at the lowest aggressiveness and lowest ferocity, is very ahistoric because a lot of the times the early colonists would have died without the natives helping them. So a low hostility should in fact increase the chance of your colony succeeding, while a high hostility should keep you from expanding a colony there well into the 1750s. Because Europeans at that point were not all they were cracked up to be. A lot of this happened because Europe got, after the Black Death, which basically killed Europe, it got a massive population boom for a very long time. So by the time they actually realized that they could colonize North America, they had a lot of people. And they first found North America in about 1000 AD, and for 500 years nobody wanted to go there because there was empty space in Europe. Then after the Black Death killed off the population, and for the next 100 years everybody was, easily employed, fairly rich, fairly likely to be able to produce at least like 5 children or 7 children, of which at least 3 lived, because after the Black Death, the standard of life in Europe was different because there was no more a large amount of slaves available. So what you see is an insane amount of wealthy middle class people. So once those guys got their hands on the new continent, and the only backward area in the European landmass was basically Russia, it was pretty clear that they were going to go to the New World. If you compare like Moscow in winter to like, let's say, new Russia in winter to say North Carolina in spring, you get an idea of why everybody went to North Carolina. Certainly, this explorer has lived for a very long time. I've gotten the entire northeastern part of the US or the North American continent mapped out. And I even managed to get ahead of the French and start to get this area. But I think due to the fact that these guys have natives in them, most of these colonies are at least troublesome. So the conquistador finally died, almost explored the entire French colony in New World. Not quite, almost. But at least I got a lot of good colonies that's explored. It's a lot of constructions that I'm undertaking. I'm almost out of all of my bong scrapings and tars and all that stuff put together. I doubt that I'll get the northern border of Quebec or northern coast of Great Lakes. I doubt that. It's a little expensive to maintain all these colonies, but not very. Probably militarily dominate France and take all these North American colonies. Just don't feel like it. The administrative efficiency is everything in this game. Without this Magna Mundi mod, it is very easy to take over the whole world. It is laughably easy. But as soon as you hit that administrative efficiency cap or penalty or whatever, then it's done for you. Listing. A lot of those trade depots and small buildings, despite not producing any income because it's in a colony, produces a lot of population growth, which eventually might be enough to see some of these colonies actually grow naturally. These outposts or settlements or what have you do grow at like 10 a year, but those main colonies do not grow. Oh. The scientific revolution is 25 years behind what I expected it to be. So there's that. And that is the last of my tar. Now the only options that remain is a new loan, which I prefer not to do, or trimming the reactor, which I would much not prefer to do. There are some very tiny nugs of weed that I dropped on the floor, but I couldn't find them even though I looked for them. So it looks like until next payday I shall be sober. Sober. Aachen. How good a ruler is Aachen? Yeah, he's okay. Nothing compared to my current guy though. I think that might be enough in this gameplay in about 5 years. Still slow as hell, so I expect there to be like 500 updates. It's about an hour, so yeah, that's good. Thank you for watching.